Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Saturday night edition of LFC Transfer Room. I'm Richie, and I'll be your host today after the football season is finally back. The Premier League is finally back, and more importantly, Liverpool are finally back as well. And they topped it off with a 2-0 win in what was a game of two halves. And we'll break down the game along with all transfer-related news, including that Joe Gomez omission from the squad a little bit later. I'm joined today. It's his first time, I believe, especially with me on the Saturday Night Club. Menti, how are you?
I'm good. How's it going, boss? Excited to be here, man.
And where are you streaming from for those who are not aware of where you are?
I am streaming from the U.S., state of Virginia.
Amazing.
It's like 2 p.m. now. It's almost 3 p.m. here, like 2:30.
Oh, wicked. So what time was you up this morning watching it?
I woke up like 7:15 just to get some coffee, but like 7:30 in the morning is when it starts for us. That's why I hate the early morning. So I just it's Saturday, so I don't like waking up early, but when Liverpool plays, I usually just get up for it.
Yeah, and no one likes the 12:30 kickoffs. Just ask Jurgen. We are joined as well by Patricio, who seems a little bit frozen. So I have added him in, and whenever he can sort out his devices, he'll be joined with us as well. But as I said, yeah, massive day, really. Not just was it the end of the Euros, the end of the friendlies. We got to see, Slot's Liverpool in full action, really. And it was a game of two halves, if I'm honest. I think, please, everybody, do feel free to throw your comments in. I know that Jay's here with us as always. Hello to you, Jay. We will be breaking down the game, and it was very exciting to get the season underway because we did have some really good friendlies. I thought we played very, very well against Sevilla. I saw us against Manchester United and Arsenal and thought this is going to be something special. And that first 45 minutes, not so special. Listen, we're not going to spend too much time on the negativity, but it does have to be addressed. We can't just have sunshine and rainbows all the time. We do have to be honest in those performances that we had in those first 45, Menti. And, what was it, I suppose, that was lacking, in the first 45 minutes? Do you think it was a bit of ring rust, or do you think Ipswich were really up for the challenge?
I personally think it's just a bit of just like ring rust, just because if you look at any of the interviews, the players as well as the manager, they just talk about just being comfortable with the system. So I expected us to make mistakes out the back line, just defenders just passing into the opponents. That's expected when you learn a new system. But I'm happy how they performed in the second half. It was very shaky first half. Even Slot himself said that, he expected it a little bit. So that's why he made the adjustments, just because, they were just losing all their duels. But I'm happy the way it ended. I'm happy just because a new style, I've been waiting it for a long time, just because our old 4-3-3 was a little bit outdated. Hate to admit it, but it was facts. So I'm happy to see it. It was good. But I think going forward, we'll get better each game. Well, we might have errors here and there, but it's all learning at this point and just getting comfortable with the system.
I think, you hit the nail on the head there, because even, the great Mohamed Salah, who we'll get on to, he said as well, it's a new system. It'll take time to get used to the new system, So the players are obviously feeling that too. I don't think the international breaks, the Copa America and the European Championships helped particularly too much, because obviously, that's less of a preseason that the likes of Darwin, who didn't get onto the pitch today, have had. But, I think for me, it's a new system, and, Ipswich aren't to be underestimated. Going away, first game of the season to a newly promoted team where that atmosphere is electric and it's buzzing, it's always going to be difficult. And it was a really slow 45. I think Ipswich probably gassed themselves out if we're looking over the full 90, because they didn't come out the second half the same. Patricio joins us now, so welcome, Patricio. What did you think of Liverpool in that first 45? And again, we're not going to spend too long on the negativity. I think he's frozen again, actually, by the looks of it. Please, someone take a picture and put it into the channel, because that'll be a great screenshot and a sticker for us all. But Menti, if we talk about individual performances, Jay's spoken about Quansah being benched after the first half. Konate did come on and settle things down at the back, and we'll talk about the second half, in the next 5 minutes. But Jarell Quansah, for me, he didn't do too much wrong. I think, obviously, he didn't win the duels that Arne Slot wanted him to win. He made an amazing block, but at the same time, Delap did look perhaps a little bit better. We've seen Quansah play very, very well. I don't think this was one of his best games, and he looked a little bit peeved off, didn't he, on the bench?
Yeah, for me, I don't take this as like a bad thing. It's just I like the way Slot's doing it, just because there's going to be games. I'm not going to lie to you. There's going to be games where Konate might get subbed off for Quansah, and Quansah is going to be better. It just Slot wanted to just get the first win. But yeah, he did look the striker on their team looked decent the first half. But it's tactical adjustments. I don't think him personally going to take it that bad. But the thing about this, I like it just because this is good competition. When you have two good players, it's competition. It's only going to make him better. So if this brings the best out of Quansah, I mean, I respect it. He's very young. Yeah, it's just like Slot just wanted to win those duels, and Konate just brought that security. That's all. I don't think he did anything that wrong.
Yeah, I just, and I would like to point out as well that, Arne Slot said it wasn't just Quansah. If I'm just scrolling on my phone actually for the quote, he said, first thing I said is that we don't have to speak about tactics if we lose so many duels, and that's what we did. Not that Jarrell lost every duel. Many of us lost duels, but I think we needed Ibu on to win the long balls from their number 9, as in Rory Delap. So, for me, it was a good tactical decision. And I like the fact he did defend Quansah. It's not like he was hooked. That's it. Sit on the bench. You've had an absolutely terrible game. For me, I think that's what football management is about. We want somebody to be tactically astute and aware of saying, look, this system at the minute isn't working, but we could tweak it and we could bring in this player and then it will click. I mean, Patricio, is that the way that it came across for you? I know that some fans online and on Twitter were saying that, it felt a little bit harsh on Quansah, but is that the way that it came across for you at all?
No, it just seems that we were playing the pre-season games. We obviously had that. We didn't have all the first team players in. He's having to adapt to a new system, and I think it will just take a little bit of time. I mean, you could tell that he wasn't, because we were worried that he was injured or something. We didn't know what was going on at the time, so it was good to know that he's all right. And I think over time he will be the mainstay. Obviously, we can't really focus on Konate because you don't know how fit he's going to stay for the season. So yeah, and to be fair, Quansah is one of my favourite players. I think he'll be amazing for the team. I always feel confident when he's on the pitch. He wins his aerial duels. I always feel like he's going to win the ball back for us. So yeah, I was a bit confused at the time to see him being taken off. But if that's what Arne thought was best, then yeah, I guess that's what he thought was best.
Let's talk about the midfield then, away from Quansah, because he was such a revelation. Honestly, this is not a slight on Quansah. These things happen, and I thought last season he was phenomenal to come in, and his rise to the Liverpool first team has been phenomenal. But let's talk about the midfield, because they were pretty non-existent as well in the first half. It didn't look as though there was that anchor. And I know that it's a double pivot, so therefore there's not a lone 6, but it didn't look as if anyone took on the mantle of that 6 in the first, I would say, 30 minutes. I think by the end of the game, Gravenberch was one of the players of the match, But again, the midfield just looked very disjointed. It looked like Dom took a knock early on. McAllister wasn't at his usual best. I think Gravenberch was probably the standout, actually, in that first half, Menti. What changed in that second half? Because it did feel as though Liverpool were a little bit disjointed. And again, it is probably down to ring rust, because that second half, Szoboszlai turned it on, McAllister turned it on, and Gravenberch got better and better. So what do you think, was the change, or was there a difference in that first half, or you just think Liverpool got into their rhythm a bit more?
I think besides like the Konate change, I feel like halftime sometimes for Liverpool is like the best thing. It happened a lot with Klopp. I just feel like his words, whatever he told them at halftime, it was completely different. Like he was saying, like he had to have the talk, and then like they weren't playing like themselves. So he's just trying to grow that identity into them about this new system. So I feel like he just reinforces saying, you do this, you do that. He's a bit direct with his instructions. So that's what I like about it. It seemed like they were more aware of what they should do, and they were just pressing a little bit better. That's why you saw like second half, Gravenberch was very good, and then Szoboszlai's pressing was amazing. Newcastle was a bit better. Just seems like he's a little bit rusty still, I guess. But second half they were a completely different team. I thought that's how they were going to start, but I expected them to still start a little bit rusty. But yeah, no, thank God for second half. That halftime helped a lot. So whatever he said worked. It seems like he's pretty clear with his identity. So that's what I like.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about, Arne Slot a little bit later, because I was very, very impressed with him. Not just, the way in which he speaks, but actually the tactical awareness of what he's done. And the fact he's not afraid to keep players on the bench. We could have seen a Nunes today. We could have seen Elliott, who was arguably, the best player in pre-season, coming on just to get minutes. But he's like, no, don't need to. You're staying there. We'll keep you for Brentford, or we'll keep you for the next opportunity. Let's talk about this left-back position, because Robertson, for me, is being asked to do a job that he's not that familiar with, and that's to be very good on the ball, almost like a ball-playing left-back. Now, he's a maraudering left-back. He's a flying Scotsman. Robbo is the best left back I've ever seen pull on a Liverpool t-shirt. So to be asking him at, I don't want to say at his age and be ageist, because I'm older than him, so it doesn't give me a lot of hope. But it's a completely different style and a completely different system. Is Robertson, how great he is, how much of a Liverpool legend, cult hero he is and will forever be, is he the man to hold down that left back position, do you think, Patricio?
I think I see him, I don't know, definitely not for the next 2-3 seasons. I see him definitely maybe 1, maybe 2 seasons out of push. But like you said, he is getting on a bit. You can see it wearing him down a bit on the left-hand side. I don't think it'll be Simicast. And to be honest, I don't really know what's going on with Joe Gomez. And I've understood that I don't even think we're interested in Ait Nouri at the moment, so I don't really know what's happening on that left-hand side, whether we do go in for Inacio and he comes in and sort of plays that left centre-back, left-back role. I'm not too sure. But, yeah, Robertson is getting on. You can see as well, like, he does get run past quite often, and he puts in the shift, he does. And I do think defensively he is quite good. It's just, you can see the edges getting to him a bit, which is a bit upsetting. But we'll see how he does this season. Just hope he doesn't get injured again.
Yeah, and it was a shoulder injury, obviously, that kept him out for a few games last season. And that man's probably got more miles in his legs under the Jurgen Klopp era than any other Liverpool player. He outlasted Jurgen Klopp. He was brought in by Jurgen Klopp, and he's absolutely he's got gas in the tank, but how much of the tank is left, I don't know. He's been an absolute phenomenal servant, and I would love to see him stay, and I'd love to see him retire at Liverpool. I just, under the new system where he's being asked to play a bit more, hopefully he can get to grips with it, but he isn't. If you compare him to the likes of, say, Trent, who is naturally gifted with the ball at his feet, you're asking Robertson sometimes to do that and keep the ball. He's not used to keeping the ball at his feet. He's used to running with the ball. And that's where Robbo's strengths is. He's running, he's doing the overlap, he's doing the underlap, he's crossing the ball. It'd be really interesting, like we say, to see what goes on in the market. But more second half talk. Who was your player of the match today, Menti? Because there were quite a few of them that I think could have shouts for. Everyone in the chat as well. There's over 2,000 of you now in the first 13 minutes. So thank you so much for joining us on your Saturday night. Put into the chat as well who were your man of the matches and why. But Menti, will go to you first.
You want me to just pick a single player?
For now, yeah, and then we can have honourable shout-outs after.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I love Gravenberch, but that performance second half, I was like, oh my days. I was happy just because for me the only issue is not whether he has talent, it's just his commitment to defense. Like sometimes he had the same issue at Bayern Munich. He's a little bit just lazy off ball, but it seemed like with this system, he's like a completely different player. He's very press resistant. So for me, I'd give it to Gravenberch. Great second half. And one of those dimes that he had, that should have been a goal, but for sure, Gravenberch, he was very good.
And again, at Bayern, he didn't get much game time under Thomas Tuchel. I know that Liverpool and Klopp himself was interested in bringing him in from Ajax, from his Ajax days. But even then, he didn't strike me as a 6. So he's again another one who's been asked to change perhaps a slightly different position. I always regarded him as an 8, especially for Ajax. How do you think, Menti, he's fit in to this 6 system? Because I was really impressed with him all of pre-season, in that double pivot, really impressed with him. And I was dead impressed with him first and second half today.
I watched the Slot post-game interview, and one thing that stood out to me was he said that Gravenberch is very attack-minded, and he was playing that 6th position. And I like the fact that he makes it always about the team. And he said, we need to help him because that's something new to him. So when he said that, I already knew they had a great game plan. So they work as a unit. That's why the double pivot system, I think he could thrive just because he is very press resistant. So, yeah.
Yeah, me too. And I think that double pivot suits him more rather than just being the lone 6. He's not a Fabinho, he's not a Rodri, he's not a Mascherano, an Alonso, and Makaleli. That the list goes on and on. But with a double pivot with someone next to him, I think he can thrive. I loved when he, in the second half, I think around about the 65th minute, and he got the ball in Liverpool's third, and he literally turned, and then he saw loads of space and he ran into it. And that's what you want your Liverpool midfielders to be. He actually ran into the space. Rather than looking for a ping over the top, he ran into the space and he was that dynamic. That's what you want it to be. I thought Ryan was fantastic today, as did Graham. Patricio, what are your thoughts on man of the match today?
Yeah, no, definitely has to be Gravenberch. Like, first half, I could tell he wasn't too familiar with the position. Obviously, from pre-season, yes, he'd played there, but you can tell he still wasn't a bit as comfortable as he was in the second half. But yeah, it must have been something that was said to the lads, because that midfield picked up the second half, and I want Gravenberch to do well. I can see him more of a 6 than I could McAllister when we were playing McAllister as a 6 or someone last season. So I think that works better. Him in a double pivot. And when one person pushes up, another person will cover like McAllister will. So I think that suits him better. Like you said, he's press resistant. He's willing to turn with the ball and run into space, which is good, and willing to find the pass. So yeah, I think that suits him well. This is the slot system. We don't need that Fabinho type player, that destroyer. I think all our midfield players are willing to track back, pick up the ball. It's just like Mendy said, we just need to get the best out of him so he isn't as lazy as he was at Bayern. He needs to put the shift in when he's off the ball. That's where he needs to pick up the most. But on the ball, he's a class player for me.
I don't think he will be afforded the luxury of being lazy. I think in the Premier League, and this is no slight on the Bundesliga for any Bundesliga fans come at me, I think you'll get found out pretty quick if you're lazy in the Premier League. Liverpool aren't Bayern Munich, who are going to dominate 70% possession every single week, and you can afford sometimes to be a little bit lazy. As we saw today, Ipswich, newly promoted team, they were press in that first 45 minutes. I thought there was a miles better team. They had the better chances. They had the better opportunities. We didn't have a shot on target in the first 45, and they had 3. You're not going to get away with that. And yes, I think I agree with Graham. We still require, dare I say his name, a Zubamendi type of character as well. But at the same time, I'm very, very impressed with Gravenberch today. A shout for Mohamed Salah as well, from Derek. Again, absolutely phenomenal today, as he is on most opening days. He is, I'm sure you're all aware, the only player in Premier League history to score 9 times on an opening day. And actually, it was only last year against Chelsea when he still registered an assist that he didn't score. 9 goals for Mohamed Salah, beating the likes of Lampard, Rooney, and who I regard as one of the greatest Premier League strikers of all time, Alan Shearer. So again, breaking records left, right, and centre is our Egyptian king. For me, toss up. I think I really like Trent's performance today, if I'm honest. I know Mo got an assist and a goal, but I was so impressed with Trent's performance. I thought, bearing in mind, 1, he's had no pre-season. 2, he's not used to the system. And 3, that first goal doesn't happen if that Trent ball doesn't go through to Salah. And that was a difficult ball to thread through too. So, I said a couple of weeks ago, I'm really excited to see Trent play in this system. And he certainly didn't let us down today. I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. Final thoughts. By the way, should have also had an assist, because I cannot believe Jota missed that header. Cannot believe it. I've never ever seen Jota miss a sitter, and it was the first time today I've seen him miss one like that. So probably should have had an assist as well. Let's talk about Mo, because Slot said Mo has 3 more years of prime football left in him. And we are talking about the Salah Masterclass, a goal and an assist again today. 300 goals or assists in 350 games for Liverpool. Absolutely phenomenal record. There are talks, Menti, about him needing to be replaced or a replacement being lined up in, future years. He does have 12 months left on his contract. What are your thoughts, one, about Mohamed Salah? Does he stay at Liverpool? Does he extend his contract? And two, is there anybody out there who could produce the numbers, like we've just said, 300 GAs in 350 appearances for Liverpool that Mohamed Salah has?
For me, I think he will sign a contract. I think it might be like 2 years or so. I think he'll for sure stay because he's just a great professional, top shape. For me, in terms of replacement, like you have to have a replacement. It's not like a knock to him to bring in a left winger. You just have to get ready for life after someone. Like people are gonna leave, and it's better to be prepared for it. Like we never replaced Genie, we never replaced Fabinho, so I'd rather just be prepared. I mean, we're replacing Allison, who's doing perfectly fine, and he's only 31. So why not replace our prolific winger? And in terms of finding who could be similar to him, I mean, he might be one of them. You never know. You just got to find someone that could thrive in that system to get, maybe close to him. I don't think there'll ever be another Mo Salah, but you just need someone that could score and assist. And for me personally, the one thing about Salah is like, when you guys watch it, his one-on-ones are sometimes awful. Like I think he won 1 out of 7, but he does everything else. Don't get it wrong, great player, but I think Salah does like having a winger that could be a little bit better in one-on-ones. But other than that, I think he'll sign a contract, and it's good to have a replacement early.
Yeah, and Ben Doak was, touted and bookmarked to be that Salah replacement, and he needs first team football, and there are talks about him going out on loan as well, or if reports are to be believed, the permanent deal if the right money is there. Patricio, I mean, is Ben Doak the one? They're massive shoes to fill, aren't they? But is there anyone in world football who you would maybe like to see come in if it's not going to be Ben Doak?
See, I know he plays on the left, but someone like a Rafael Leao or like that, a Bakayoko, or someone who can play on that side. Even what was I thinking of? Even potentially Gordon, but I don't think anyone's going to get to that Salah level, to be honest. I think the reason we saw a bit of a decline for Salah as well is he was Klopp leaving. He was still so predictable on that side, especially when that right-hand side looked so congested with like Bradley or Trent pushing up there on top of Salah as well. So I think given the space, maybe in that 4-2-3-1, he can sort of cut inside maybe. And yes, he is quite predictable. I meant he said like not getting through as he used to. Like in the past, you'd see him go through players and take on the challenge. And to be honest, I would like to see Ben Doak potentially take over him. But the thing with Ben Doak is he is also quite predictable as well on his right foot. He does get past players, but he's just a little bit too weak that he just gets pushed off the ball too easy. I would prefer it if he got loaned out, got some minutes first team wise, and then came back. I wouldn't like to be a permanent, but then even then, who can we play on that right hand side? Like Harvey Elliott maybe, or Szoboszlai, but yeah, I think long term, we're only looking at 1 or 2 more years out of Salah, and then we're going to need someone to step up, whether it is get someone in now as an understudy or look to within the club. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, certainly, like I said, they're big boots to fill. I don't think anyone in world football could fill realistically those numbers. Even if you're looking at a Vinny Jr., that transfer is just never going to happen. So, in terms of realism, Liverpool have to look towards other people to get those Salah numbers. But for me, again, trying not to be negative, because it was a great performance, great second half performance today. But, it is a little bit of a worry where We've got 3 of our mainstay players, our best players in Van Dijk, Trent, and Salah, like winding down on their contract. Now, hopefully, I'm quite relaxed if I'm honest. I think all 3 of them will re-sign. I think Virgil and Salah will re-sign on similar wages. I think Trent is due a big bump up. And I think he's a future Liverpool captain. His heart's at Liverpool. If Liverpool want him and offer him fair money, he will 100% stay for me. It's a big couple of weeks. Now, listen, there's a myth going around that contract extensions have to happen in the transfer window. They don't. Like, it's just ridiculous that it only gets brought up in the transfer window. Why wasn't it brought up 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 12 months ago? You know, these players have been winding down their contracts, and for Liverpool to potentially lose even one of those 3 on a Bosman is completely unacceptable and unforgivable, you know, and people can point the blame wherever they want. But for me, it doesn't matter if a new manager comes in. It literally doesn't matter. Some people are saying, well, Klopp was leaving. Slot might not have wanted them. He definitely would. You know, for me, it's a little bit silly in terms of, and naive and thinking, well, if he doesn't want him, okay. But at the same time, like, protect your most valuable assets. There's £200 million worth of talent there. Even if you extend them, what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to sell them rather than them go for a free. Menti, do you see all 3 of these players signing a new contract? Do you see one of them potentially playing hardball? Do you think one might say, actually, not for me?
For me, I just don't like some of the stuff I'm seeing. Like, it's them just saying, oh, they might not get a 6. They're focused on Trent's contract. For me, as a fan, that's something that should have been taken care of. Like, if I was Richard Hughes, that's the first thing I would have done. And I want to be positive, but I feel like one of them might go. I don't know who. I don't like the Trent to Madrid links, but, you know, if Madrid comes calling, it comes like, it doesn't come a lot. I don't care who you are. I know he's like a diehard Scouser, born and raised, but he's going to think about it. It depends on what we offer him. If it's too much for FSG, they're not going to pay for him. And what Real Madrid can realistically do, they can market him way bigger than Liverpool. So there's pros and cons to both. I just want to get him done first. I feel like we could get Salah and Virgil for sure, but Trent's a little bit just shaky for me. I just don't like that relationship with Jude. They were in like LA this whole summer with the Madrid players. I was like, no, stop all this. Sign the contract, buddy.
Yeah, we thought it was all Agent Trent bringing Jude to Liverpool. It might be Agent Jude bringing him to Madrid. You know, we never know. I just can't see it. I can't see Trent leaving on a free. He might put a nice little clause in there for himself and says, yeah, I'll sign an extension. If Madrid pay 150, though, you've got to accept it. You know, if he really wants to go to Madrid, because you're quite right. Madrid, they don't come around very often. I personally, as a Liverpool fan, and Trent as a Liverpool fan, would never leave Liverpool Football Club. But that being said, he's already won everything at Liverpool Football Club. He could win 5 Champions Leagues at Madrid, plus God knows however many cups. He could be one of the most decorated English players of all time. Again, that doesn't happen very often, does it? Patricio, thoughts on Virgil van Dijk's replacement then? Because, you know, Paul Joyce said a lot of things the other night. And Virgil van Dijk himself has also said a few things. What they both seem to agree on is there doesn't seem to be any movement in his contract. Now, he's our club captain. Again, you know, I'm always positive, as our regular listeners will know. And I don't call anybody out unless it's absolutely needed. But I do think it's a little bit poor, if I'm honest, that our club captain has now 12 months on his contract and there's no negotiations going on.
Yeah, I think it's a bit odd. I mean, even he said it himself in one of the interviews. Even he said, "Oh, like nothing to happen with contracts," and you would like it to be sorted. Like Menti said, it should have been on Hughes' radar, like when he first came in to get it sorted. I mean, he seems pretty committed to want to stay with us. He doesn't seem like he was looking elsewhere. He seems like he wants to stick to Liverpool. And it's just offering him that contract. Like you said, he is the club captain, at least for, well, hopefully a few more seasons until Trent takes up that mantle, I hope. In my eyes, I see Trent taking that. But I think Virgil will at least be happy to stay a few more seasons. What is he, like 33 now, isn't he? I think so. So I still definitely think he's definitely got a few more seasons in the Prem. Like, yes, he did have to recover a bit from his injury all those, a couple of years ago, but you can see him getting back to it now. Like,
Last season, he was phenomenal. Best centre back in the league last season.
Mm-hmm. He's still a force to be reckoned with, but he still can hold people off and hold players off. So, yeah, I don't know. I would like him to. To be fair, he doesn't seem too like frustrated that nothing's happening. I think he knows things are happening in the background, and like you said, it doesn't have to be done in the transfer window as long as it just gets sorted out and everyone's happy and he does stay. Then yeah, I'll be all right with it.
Yeah, my biggest bugbear is it shouldn't have got to the last 12 months to have these three players. And I think we're all in agreement there. And I think everyone in the chat is as well. Thank you, everyone, as well, for joining us in the chat as well. We've got over 3,500 of you now. So thank you so much. And do give us a like and a subscribe when you can. Let's talk then about Joe Gomez, because he was left out of the squad today, Menti. And the reason for that was that he's seeking first team football elsewhere. So obviously Slot doesn't want to perhaps hinder his chances of doing that. I don't think offering him and trying to get in Gordon was one of the best moves, because then automatically, as soon as that deal fell through, Gomez is like, well, okay, you want me to go, you know, where do I fit in? Listen, we won't go into that part, but what we will go into is, you know, I suppose, one, he is wanted by several Premier League clubs, Newcastle, Chelsea, Aston Villa, and Bayern Munich are apparently on high alert for him as well. Now, Joe Gomez is one of my most favourite players, mainly due to his commitment, his versatility. He's the longest serving player at Liverpool in the senior squad as well. And if he wants to go for minutes, absolutely fine with that. You know, if he's been told he's behind Van Dijk, Ibu, Kwanzaa, he's for fourth choice, he's better than a fourth choice centre back for me. I think he should go and get more minutes. One, I suppose, and Patricia, I'm going to ask you the same question. How much would you sell him for? And actually, no, I don't want to do the second question yet. I'll do it in a minute. But Menti, how much do you think Joe Gomez is worth to Premier League clubs? Because I'm charging more for Premier League clubs than I am a Bayern Munich.
I think his range would be anywhere from like 40 to 50 million. Honestly, that's what I see. That I feel like we could get that easily. And for me, I think it'll be. I think he might go to Newcastle. I don't know. I feel like they'll pay him well. They got the money for it. He'll definitely get first team playing. I saw that. What teams were tied? It was like Chelsea.
Chelsea. No. Was it Villa?
I'm not too sure, but I felt like I looked at those teams and I remember Newcastle just being the best option. And for me, hey, whatever they could do, sell him and get us Bruno Guimaraes. We need a DM. 50 million right there. That's just me, but yeah, I feel like Newcastle would be the best fit for him, because I know he wants to be ready for that World Cup team too. I know he's trying to make that roster just because he didn't make it for the Euros. There's no way he wants to be a bench player at this point.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think that was mainly on Southgate, because, you know, Gomez could have played anywhere in that back four. Although, to be fair, the English defence, they were pretty solid. I can't blame Southgate too much for that one. But yeah, it was Villa. And Bayern are apparently on high alert, whatever that means. But Bayern, I think, not struggling financially, but I think, you know, they're looking elsewhere as well where they can improve their squad. I think maybe they'll be looking for a bargain. Patricio, how much are you selling Joe Gomez for? If you have to sell him, I'm not selling him, by the way. I would like to point that out. I'm not selling him unless it's for really good money. But how much do you think is a fair price?
I think Menti was right. I think between 40 and 50, although, yeah, you like to think that would be the correct price for him. I mean, like you said, I would like him to stay. I mean, a couple seasons ago, I was in the mind of like when we had Matip and when we didn't know what was happening at Vandenberg, but like I was happy for him to potentially go at the time. I was a bit frustrated with him on the right hand side, but last season at left back, he was amazing for us, and I think I'd prefer him over Simicast. I think, well, anyone would at this point. Yeah, he's at that left-hand side. He's proven why he should have gone to that Euros and played over Trippier in that left back spot. So I would like him to stay, but yeah, if we had to sell him and if someone came in, and I do think someone even commented Villa, and to be fair, he could even do a job for Villa as well. Newcastle Villa, so yeah, that could be quite good. To get the first team minutes, yeah. So I don't know, we'll see what happens. I mean, I would like him to stay, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, and listen, Jay's already said as well, like he's so versatile. That for me is the big difference. Joe could play 60 minutes in 3 different positions. You know, not many defenders in world football could do that. You know, left back, centre back, right back. There's 3 really good positions there that he has played and he can play in. So, you know, for me, especially to a Premier League team, I'm asking for 40 to 50 million as well. Personally, I do think Newcastle would do well with him if they're turning away from Guehi. I also think Joe, maybe after speaking to Darwin, could give Fabian Schär a few headbutting tips as well, because that headbutt today was absolutely terrible, you know, and for Diaz to fall on the floor like that, oh, you know, he should be in Hollyoaks, not on a football pitch. But yeah, I would have no qualms in Joe going if that's what he wants to do. He's been an absolute brilliant servant for the club. And, you know, I'd wish him nothing but the best and just wave a fond farewell for him. Menti, Inacio links are heating up. We've seen that apparently, according to reports, his agents are in England. And he has a £51 million release clause. But rumours, again, if you believe the back pages in the internet, is that Sporting would accept something around about 38 million for him. Is Inacio a player that you would be, you know, happy to bring to Anfield and to bring into the Liverpool fold?
Yeah. Honestly, I'm at a point where please just sign the player. I watched his last game. I think they won like 6-1, and he was pretty good. Like he's a center back that gets the ball a lot. So we're in the side that's possession based or trying to be possession based. His pass accuracy is always like 90 and above. I think he's very capable to do it, and his long passing is very good as well. For me, I feel like that position was long overdue. We could have got him like a year ago for like 35, but if we do get him, I don't want to hear no, we could get him for 38. If it's 51, just go pay however much it is if you think he's fit for the team. And then I just want to just see it, him holding up a jersey. Like, I don't want to be part of no saga no more. Yeah, I feel like just pay the release clause. Don't make no issues. Richard Hughes, you're doing terrible right now. So, yeah, I think it'd be a great fit for the team.
Yeah, he obviously plays in the back 3 for Sporting on the left-hand side. And, you know, last summer, actually, I was doing podcasts and streams last summer and said I think Inacio might be the one. And I've seen him 9 or 10 times since then this year thinking, we might revisit it. And I think 38 million is fair. You know, I wasn't ever blown away. I wasn't ever thinking, we should have signed that player. You know, we should have had him last summer. He's been steady Eddie for me. I think it'll be a big step up to go to the Premiership. I'm certainly not selling Gomez to fund that move if that's what we are looking to do. But at the same time, you know, he has got youth on his side. He's not going to come in straight away. I think you've got Konate, Van Dijk and Kwanzaa who can bleed him in. But Patricio, what are your thoughts on an Inacio type player?
Yeah, I think he'd be quite a good fit. I mean, we need someone. Yes, I don't think he's only like 6 foot tall, so he wouldn't like be that massive defender at the back. He'd be someone that can sort of float around to the left hand side, like you said. He's in the back 3 for Sporting. So and I'm pretty sure he's quite good at progressing the ball forward. He's comfortable on the ball, so he's happy with his ball progression. So yeah, someone like him would be good. I know that we were linked with him last season, and I wasn't sure if anything was going to happen, and obviously it didn't. But yeah, no, it would be a good signing. I mean, he's sort of like a Hincapié type player, someone like him or like a Pacho. So yeah, could be a good signing for us if we do make it. Like Joyce said as well, didn't he? He said we're not going to make signings just for the sake of signings. We're going to make the ones for the right fit and fit for the role. So we know we need that left centre back position covered, especially to give Virgil some rest time. So yeah, I do see him coming in.
And I think, like I said, last season I would have been over the moon with it. I think that's one of the players that I would have liked, along with Hikampe last season. He is going. I think he is a player, and I would be happy to see him walk through those doors. I just don't want it to be at the expense of, okay, well, he's coming in, so we have to sell a Gomez. I'd rather see Van den Berg, if I'm honest, go through the door if we're getting an Inacio in. But these links are heating up, and I think all of us are pretty aware that Hughes has got a bit of a job on, and hopefully it's a busy 2 weeks for Liverpool. Here we go. Here's a little bit as well. He was in England for Bruno's new contract, for Bruno Fernandes, and that's apparently why he was in. So maybe not for Inacio, but we will see. Menti, if it's not going to be Inacio, is there anybody on your shortlist? And in fact, I'm going to pull up a comment that I saved earlier, because this could be a double comment. Who would you boys like us to sign in the 6 and the left back position? Let's go with left back / left centre back, and then we'll get on to the 6 because it is hot topic, and then we'll wind down from there. So Menti, you're up first. Left centre back or a left back, whoever it is who you feel.
Okay, I'll give you all three just by different positions. All right, so for left back, I know he's American, but it has to be Anthony Robinson. I don't know if you guys watched the match against United. I've been trying to say this to on our streams. He is so nice. He's 27. He just turned 27. He literally talks about, I want to be in the best shape of my life for the World Cup just because it is based here. By far the best player on Fulham. If you look at it, he won 8 out of 9 duels. He won 2 out of 3 as aerial duels. It was insane. I feel like if you take, no disrespect to Robo, you put Anthony Robinson in that system, he's better defensively and he could go forward. Very fast guy. My left back of choice, I'll take Inacio, but I've always been saying Castello Lukeba. He's literally just like Kanate, but left-footed. Very good. He is very explosive. He's technical. He plays in, I think he plays in the back four, so, but he's able to play in left back as well. And for the 6, honestly, I don't care. Just go sign someone because that's the position we need. We're tired of so many names. It'd be Bruno for me, but I don't think we have ambitious owners like that. But if they do find a gem somewhere, maybe the guy from the Bundesliga that plays on Stuttgart. Stiller. Yeah, his stats are crazy. He's playing right now, so but yeah, anyone, please. Just the 6s just scares me a little bit because I'm fine with Gravenberch doing well, but that's just against a newly promoted side. But whenever we have to play higher competition where they know your weaknesses, I don't know. So we'll see.
I also think it's Gravenberch. What happens if he gets injured? Okay, because hopefully we're not going to have very many injuries. If he gets injured, I would say a Jones replaces McAllister, right? Bajcetic didn't even make the bench today. Endo did. So you're going to take out Gravenberch for Endo, which again, fine with. Really think Endo's a good player. Can he do it consistently? I think he maybe can, but again, Father Time's ticking a little bit. But the big thing for me is Slot saying he's not really part of his plans, and that speaks volumes for me. And that's the worrying aspect because I really liked Endo. I thought he's an absolute steal. I absolutely loved seeing him be the warrior that he can be. But Slot himself has sort of alluded to the fact that he doesn't really fit into his plans. Patricio, same question for you. Mendy, absolutely, I can't argue with any of those picks. So really, really well done. Patricio, what do you think?
Yeah, so for left back, I know Robertson was sort of hinted, but then I'm also thinking that obviously Ait Noiri could be quite good. Did quite good for the Wolves. Doing a job
you
there.
Said earlier, and you were bang on. Paul Joyce said not of interest. I mean, Joyce has also said though. He's also said that Liverpool are now not leaking anything over the next 2 weeks. So again, that could be for DHS. Yeah,
could be definitely. So I think he's an option for left back as well. For the left centre back, I mean, there is quite a few. I would have liked Pacho as one of them. I think Inacio can do a job. It depends. Do we want a sort of a progressive player, someone like a Matip, or do we want like a ball winning like a Verge? Because I think Konate and Kwanzaa have that right hand side, and if we were going to get like a ball winning centre back, I think we'd want someone like a Diamande. But if we're going for that sort of left-footed, left-sided, then maybe I would have liked the Hincapié, but I think that Leverkusen side, they're not letting players go, or they're very reluctant to let players go. So I don't know. I don't really know, to be honest. And then for the 6, I was in my head, I was quite happy with like an Edison, a Zubamendi. Kind of hurt still. Or do you know what? Even like there's that Alan Varela that people are talking about as well, that we're linked to as well. He was a shout as well. And then I know we can't get him. I'm pretty sure we're not allowed to. I think he might have gone somewhere else. That Matt's Weifer. I don't know if I say his name correctly.
He just moved to Brighton. Yeah,
He just moved to Brighton.
That's what it was. Yeah, that's what it was. But I don't think he was allowed to come anyway.
Got an assist today. Got an assist as well.
Yeah. So those would have potentially been my options. I mean, I think I would still be happy with an Edison, but it's a lot of money to go towards him.
Yeah, I like the Varela shout, but the only issue is he's just been made Porto captain, same as Bruno Guimaraes. You know, just been made Newcastle captain, and again, 2 players who really could have, I think, could have come in and done really, really well with those 2 players. But alas, you know, we move, and as Joyce said, you know, Liverpool will only strengthen in that position if they need to. If they improve the squad, is what he said, not if they need to, because it's blind and the opposite. They probably do need to. Edison looked bang average against, it is Real Madrid earlier this week. I thought Bajcetic looked like a fish out of water when he played Madrid. So, you know, you can't take playing Madrid with too much, too much pomp, I don't think. But yeah, I didn't think Edison looked very good either. João Gomez, been really impressed with him as well for Wolves. I didn't see the Wolves game today. I was watching the Newcastle.
I got one too. Oh, Adam Wharton. I forgot about him.
Yeah,
hey,
Wharton.
You got to be ambitious. I'm telling you, if we just had ambitious owners, oh my days. Very good.
100 mil though, they reckon. Are you paying 100 mil for Adam Wharton?
No.
That's the dish. And listen, if they want 70 million for Guehi, they're definitely going to want 100 for Wharton. And this isn't, the Guehi deal was, we want 65. Newcastle did bid for the 4th time, 65. No, we want 70. So they're saying 100. Who knows if it's going to be 110, 115. They might want to break the Caicedo record, 120. I think so. Palace are really difficult to deal with. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. Listen, lads, thank you so much for joining us. I really hope you enjoyed the game today, as everybody else hopefully did too, because it's so nice to have the football chat back rather than the transfer chat. And Brentford next week at home, first one under the Slot era. I genuinely think, we're in for an exciting ride this season. And transfers aside, we've got a squad who can compete. With a couple of more additions, I think we're all in agreement with title challenges as well. So hopefully, who knows, Hughes might work a day this week and get a few deals over the line. Right, thank you so much all for joining us, and take care, God bless, and obviously, as always, up the Reds.